Oh my god, where are you? Where is anybody? Where is anything? I can't see. Why can't I see? Because it's dark. RAFter Dark. Welcome to RAFter Dark, everyone. This is Respawn Aim Fire's kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast, non-video game related episode that we do once a month just for patrons-ish. You get a month-ish of exclusive access if you're a patron over at patreon.com/respawnaimfire. If you're not a patron and you're listening to this right now and you're hearing my voice, this is old shit. This is old shit. Go get yourself checked because you've got a case of the olds. If you want to be a hip young thing, go listen to this early whenever patrons can and be part of the conversation instead of the person who's learning what YOLO means now in 2025. You're late. You're late to the conversation. All right, we've got some things to talk about, and the way that this goes, I don't know what those are. Nobody really knows what those are, but the conversation is going to flow, and it's going to be great. And who am I? I'm Chad Michael, the sex pot Innes. We've got Adam, no God pot, Gumbert. How are you, Adam?
Hello, Chad.
Uh-oh. What's that giggle?
Uh-oh.
Great.
A man of many words, Adam. A man of many words.
Those many words you just heard were from Alex Earphone Pot Kozina. How are you,
What's
Alex?
up, Chad? I'm doing quite well. I know that you love it when I eat on camera, and so I'm happy today to report that I have a birria burrito from Costco, and
How do you spell that?
not to be outdone, I also have a Greek salad from Costco, and that's spelled Greek. Thank you for asking.
No, what's the first word you said? Birria burrito.
I think it's Costco, which is spelled C-O-S.
Oh my God.
No, you said word with a B. You said a bird with a B burrito.
It is spelled
B.
B-I-R-R-I-A.
No, isn't it weird?
Birria
that
burrito?
The word
Birria.
word is spelled W-O-R-D, but bird is not spelled B-O-R-D. Why is bird spelled with an I and not an O?
English
That's a
language,
good question.
Or why is word spelled with an O and not an I?
I know, it's weird.
And with that, we just broke Joel's brain, which you can see from the photo that he has here on the screen. Joel is not with us right now. He's not dead, but he he does have the face of Pedro Pascal from season 2 of The Last of Us taking a mighty fine poop. He has just moved, so he will be sitting this out as he gets his whole life set back up in a new place. Eating your bird burrito. Eating your bird burrito. Alex Kozina, you told us you've got something to kick off the conversation. Oh, by the way, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this on the second take that we're doing this. We don't talk about video games here. This is an anything but video game discussion. And Kozi said that he's got something to kick off the discussion today. So, bird burrito boy, what do you got?
Sure. So, I want to preface this by saying I don't know that this will be as wild and rambunctious as something like my Grand Theft Auto story from the previous episode. But, you know, it's always good to talk about things you've been up to in your recent life. And something that I did recently in my life is I went to Montreal's Comic Con. Yes, up here in Montreal,
Please tell me they call it Monty Comic Con.
No, they call it just the Montreal Comic Con. We do have an anime expo that is called Otakuthon. That particular expo has its own unique name, but the Montreal Comic Con is just called the Montreal Comic Con.
Do you all, whenever you have like billboards and advertisements for Monty Comic Con, do you also, like on every single advertisement, do you have to put montycomiccon.ca or like otakucomiccon.ca or like come buy this ragu sauce.ca? Like whatever it is.
I gotta be honest, I'm pretty certain that the website for the Montreal Comic Con, the Monty Comic Con, is just a WordPress site, actually. It's just like, it's like a really elaborate WordPress site, so I'm pretty sure it's a .com, in fact.
That's wild. I clicked a link today for a sideboard cabinet, and it brought me to Amazon.ca, and I didn't realize for about 15 minutes that I was browsing Canadian Amazon. Gotta say, it looks the same as America's, so I don't know why you all feel like you need a separate domain.
I mean, we gotta set ourselves apart somehow, you know. Somehow.
That's true. Sorry, continue talking about Monty Comic Con.
Yes, let's get back on track. So, Monty Comic Con, I mean, here's the thing. My particular visit to Montreal Comic Con this past weekend wasn't necessarily the most exciting trip imaginable, but I figured that it might be perhaps a good jumping off point for us to talk about our convention experiences, not specifically limited to video games. That's the problem with this podcast is we say up front that we're not going to talk about video games, but inevitably the conversations that we have will always sort of come back to video games in some manner or another. But nevertheless, yeah, it's been like I've been going to the Montreal Comic Con for like quite a few years now. Although I got to be honest, I think that I say that, and I actually can't remember the last time that I had previously been to Comic Con. It might have previously been in like 2019, actually, because the pandemic kind of threw a bit of a wrench in that regard. Yeah, I had a good time at this particular Comic Con. Saw some really cool cosplayers, bought some cool merch. I got some Pokemon cookie cutters that one of the vendors in Artist Alley had 3D printed themselves, and I was like, "Oh, I'm very excited here." They were it was a lot of conventional Pokemon like your Squirtles, your Bulbasaurs, your Pikachus, and they also had Smoliv, which, if you don't know, Adam, Smoliv is the small olive Pokemon that they introduced in Gen
Could have
9.
never fucking guessed that one.
And
If you rearrange letters in Smoliv, it smells I slove.
yeah, it's a secret Easter egg that Pokemon devs put in there.
Mhm.
And yeah, the vendor was straight up like, yeah, like nobody's buying the Smoliv one. So if you buy 5 others, I will give you the Smoliv one for free. And so that's how I got a Smoliv cookie cutter. But yeah, other than that, like the thing about these conventions that I've learned over time is that they really are most fun when you can attend them alongside other people, alongside other friends that you want to share in your experience with. Back in the kind of halcyon days of me going to Montreal Comic Con or Otakuthon for the first time, I could.
Wait, going
They
to what?
were Otakuthon, the Montreal's anime convention. I talked
No,
about this.
what was the other one you said?
Montreal Comic Con,
What is that?
Monty Comic Con. Do you want me to call it that?
Oh, Monty Comic Con. Got it. Okay.
I could enjoy these conventions by myself in the past, but as sort of the years have gone on, I found them to be most enjoyable when I can enjoy them alongside other people. And so I was just here by myself. Everyone else was out of town for the weekend. I kind of went in, did my thing, and left. But I don't know if either of you guys had any like fun convention stories. If you have any convention going habits that are kind of unique to the way that you peruse the old cons,
Well,
anything
first,
to share?
I have a suggestion for you.
Uh-oh.
Next time you go to a convention, take a page out of Pokemon Yellow's book and just let your Pokemon out so that it travels alongside you instead of keeping it in the ball the whole time. And then you don't have to worry about not having somebody there with you because your Pokemon can be there right beside you.
So I have some bad news, Chad. You know how I said earlier this was a birria burrito?
I
Actually,
heard bird burrito.
it was actually the flesh of Pikachu. I actually harvested him to make this burrito, so that wouldn't have been
Ooh,
possible.
That sounds good. Con habits. What was the question?
You have to ask me right when I have a million. Oh man, this is a disaster. Hold on. Oh no, it's all right. I thought for a second I was trying to choke. Not that I was trying to choke.
Trying
but
to choke.
Trying to choke.
I thought that I was choking from trying to eat so fast so I could get back to answering Chad's question, but I'm all right. Yeah, conventions, like your history with conventions, your convention going habits, your relationship with them. You know, obviously, like the whole point of this is not that we talk about video games, but obviously, you know, a lot of video game stuff intersects with conventions. So, however you want to take the question.
I'll be honest with you. My very first convention was PAX East last year
Really?
with all of y'all. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been to a convention, I think.
Really?
Nothing for work? I mean, those aren't as fun.
Yeah, you're
but,
right.
You know.
Oh, a bunch of like, I went to actually, this was pretty cool. I went to an AR VR learning and development convention in San Jose in 2019. And that's actually, that's where I got to try out Microsoft HoloLens. If you're not familiar with learning and development, it's the uncool part of some companies. Not a lot of companies I found actually have a department like this that like creates training materials and helps, you know, employee experience, all that kind of stuff. And so one of the demos that I got at this AR VR convention was people trying to solve for creating more effective sexual harassment trainings.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had you put on, at the time it was an Oculus. What was the Oculus not Quest version that was out?
Rift?
Rift, yeah, the Rift, tied up to a PC. So like you put on an Oculus Rift and you load into this VR environment where you're sitting at a desk and there's this like Unreal Engine 3 avatar looking at you, having a conversation with you, and commenting about your body in a sexual way.
Was it like a 3D recreation of that one meme of like the one guy who's like hitting on the girl and then the other guy and the girl's like, "Oh, human resources, help me." Is it that meme?
I'm not familiar with that meme, but it was
we need
definitely,
to look it up
let
at
me
some
tell
point.
you, if you are a person who acts like that person, and then suddenly you're in the eye, like you are literally taking the eyes of the victim and putting them into your own eyes. Woo! Was that effective? I was uncomfortable as shit in that scenario. So yeah, very effective. But yeah, I guess it was a cool. You can also, like, we were doing, like, how do you download 3D models from certain places and integrate them to like AR experiences where you can like point your phone at a table and like see, shit appear in there and teach you about all sorts of things. So like, it was a weird little convention. Tell you what though, naps are a big part of convention life when you're going for that kind of stuff.
Interesting. I'm not typically much of a napper when it comes to these conventions. When I would go to Otakuthon, Montreal's anime convention, that's what we're calling it. We're not calling it anything else. Those conventions, anime conventions, will have like super duper late night screenings at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. of hentai and other similarly questionable material. And I many times would be like, you know what, let's stay up and let's check this stuff out. Like, I am the kind of person, if we want to talk about our convention going habits, I am awake at all hours, every hour when it comes to convention.
Well, when there's hentai involved, of course.
Right.
Oh yeah,
how do you
100%.
sleep when there's hentai playing?
It's just impossible. It was
right.
It's
you try
actually
to lay on your side, boom, boner hits somebody in the room. You try to lay on your tummy, you can't.
People don't know this.
You hurt your boner.
But John Henry Kellogg actually invented hentai in the early 1900s as a caffeine-free alternative to coffee. It's actually like a well-known fact, and then Japan appropriated it from America.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
John Henry.
None of it's real. None of this is going to pop up. It's all fake.
No.
Did the
John Henry
guy
Kellogg
who
is a real
beat
person.
The steam
He did not create hentai.
engine
That is true.
With the sledgehammer, also make serial killers who were obsessed with.
Well, I don't know about the serial
anime
killers part. I didn't bring up that part.
It's one of those Venn diagrams with serial killers and hentai obsessed people.
This is a sweeping statement. I'm going to say this right now. I think it's impossible for serial killers to like anime, or rather, I think that if you enjoy anime, you cannot be a serial killer. I think the reason why there was a rash of serial killers in America in the 1970s and 1980s is because it was just before anime was introduced to mainstream audiences in the country.
It's blatantly false. That is incorrect information.
You look at the graphs, and it's like the rise in anime in North America proportional to like the amount of serial killers on the prowl, and like one begets the other. Anime's rise beget the fell of serial killers. I think it
just raised the numbers of perverts, and they were too busy in their basements to go murder people, but they were still the same.
But
perverts
that's why
as before.
I'm saying, but it stopped the killing, so ultimately it worked out, right?
They just hid them better. Jeffrey Dahmer hid his for a while.
Oh no.
Chad, nothing came up with that insane Google search, I'm assuming?
No, there was actually like none of it made any sense to me. But the third thing down was a thing from the University of Colorado. And I clicked on the link, and it was just an enormous wall of code that I assume was something that infects a bunch of computers with hentai. And so I clicked away from it.
Okay, so besides the work one, by the way, I did put the meme in the chat. If you click on the little speech bubble,
let me look at
I gave you your sexual harassment meme. That's. I understand they're trying to teach you stuff, but having me sit in AR or VR and like pretend to get sexually harassed is very strange. Like, I get it, but like, I don't. Who made that? You know what I'm saying? Did David Jaffe sit down and make that presentation for the VR people? You know.
So, Chad, this is your
it was
first
Randy
time.
Pitchford and David Jaffe.
So, just to be certain, Chad, this is your first time seeing this meme, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, because the thing you need to understand about this meme is that this meme is a lot like Loss, that other famous like internet webcomic, where people have taken this meme and they've like rearranged it in all sorts of insane ways. Like there's one where it's like the guy in like the upper left corner is like, "Hello, Susan. My name is Sam, and I'm made of sugar." And then the guy in the lower corners will be like, hold on, call human resources, answer eating Sam. Hello, human resources." I just realized that recounting how a meme read online is probably not very exciting on a podcast.
Yeah. I'll summarize the meme. Basically, the meme says, if you are unattractive, everything you say is sexual harassment. But if you're attractive, you get away with it.
That's
Yeah?
what David Jaffe taught us.
Adam,
Old DJ.
what about you in conventions? What's your relationship history with them?
PAX East and West, baby.
Those are the only ones.
I was actually looking it up. I did go once, maybe twice to a local one, Lexington Comic and Toy Con, but that was fucking 7 years ago or some shit. They get some pretty good guests. They have pretty decent numbers, but when I went 2 years in a row and I was like, oh, this is 90% the same, I'm not coming to this ever again. So I haven't been to that in fucking 8-9 years. But back then though, I wasn't like going to any panels or doing anything. I would just buy a ticket, walk the floor, look at stuff, bought like a Ninja Turtles canvas painting, and
Ooh.
then walked by the celebrities but didn't actually go talk to them because they charge you, obviously. So I was like, I'm good. The interesting one, so the kid, Jake Lloyd, who was the kid Anakin Skywalker in episode 1, was there. And I think that was the last thing he did before like he went to rehab, because he had a very difficult life. And he was there
Right.
for 1 day. He was supposed to be there for 3. He did not show up for day 2 and 3. So he was definitely going through it. And then my friend wanted a picture with Sergeant Slaughter, who is a wrestler, but he was like, fuck that, I'm not giving that guy $40 for a picture. So he stood in the aisle as there was people, traffic going back and forth, and like doing a forced perspective, like stood close to the camera while he was in the background and like changed it to look like they were close to each other. But then he looked over right as he was taking the picture and being like, he didn't say anything, but he's like, come on, dude, like give me my $40. He's like, fuck that, and just walked off. So, and then just looked at a bunch of cosplayers. And outside of that, it was like, cool, never doing this again. Because again, year 2 was basically the exact same thing. So I was like, I'm good on that.
You mentioned like going to a convention a million years ago and not wanting to pay to have like your photo taken with one of the attendees there. So the first ever Montreal Comic Con I went to would have been in like 2011 or 2012. And nowadays, like all of Montreal's big conventions, MoneyCon, Chad, so that you know what I'm talking about, Otakuthon, all these conventions are held in Montreal's Palais de Congrès Convention Center, which is a beautiful modern convention center, a great place to visit when you can, of course, because you normally can't if there's no convention happening there. But this particular version of MoneyCon, because it was like so early in its life, was held in like the basement of like another building several streets down. I remember they had Peter Mayhew there, and he posed with like another Chewbacca, like another guy in a Chewbacca costume, not a real life Chewbacca. I don't know how that would be possible. And they also had one of the actors, or in this case actresses, that portrayed Greedo in Star Wars Episode 4. Greedo is one of those characters where like one person like portrayed his voice and another person played him physically in like one scene and another person played him physically in another scene. One of those people was this actress from Quebec. I forget what her name was, but I actually met her and chatted with her a little bit.
Johnson.
No, I don't think she's from Quebec, for the record. But yeah, did not take my photo with her, but she was actually a pretty cool person to meet. I'm assuming that neither of you have ever like exhibited anything at any of these conventions yourselves, correct?
I think Chad was the sexual harassment person during that thing, so that might count. But outside of that, I have not. No,
Because all this conversation about conventions has actually been jogging my memory, and I remembered that I actually have kind of sort of exhibited things at actually two separate conventions in the past, and they were both very different, very strange scenarios. So scenario number one, this would have been it was a convention in Toronto called EGLX. It was a gaming convention.
Hold on.
Yes.
Can we guess what it means?
Sure. I want to let you know for
Adam.
the record, I don't
Yeah.
remember what it means at all. So you can guess
Okay,
whatever you
I'm gonna
want.
look it up in a second, but Adam,
Okay.
actually, all three of us can guess since you don't know, Kozi. Adam, I want you to guess first. What do you think EGLX stands for?
And it's a convention. Something gaming extra large. I don't know what the E would stand for.
All right. Kozi, what do you think it means?
I'm gonna guess it's probably Electronic Gaming Lower Canada Expo.
Lower Canada. That's a thing you all refer to as
Well,
Lower Canada? Okay.
It's one of those things we don't, but I'm trying to think like logically what the L might stand for. And Toronto is in like the most southern tip of Canada, so it would make sense.
All right. I'm going to say easygoing licking zebras with an X. 'Cause it's
Something
cool.
gives me a feeling that's probably not what it is.
EG Enthusiast Gaming,
Oh.
and then LX Live Expo.
Oh, interesting. So, sorry, hold on. I was turns out eating the
And
Greek
up
salad from
comes the bird
Costco.
burrito.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it's probably. I said it might be the salad, but it's probably a burrito. So this convention was a weird scenario because it was a gaming convention. I'm pretty certain it was the last ever time that any member of Kind of Funny was in Canada for like an official event. Like obviously like Greg Miller like goes back to and from Canada all the time because he has family up here, but like I can't remember the last time that any of the members of the podcast have been up here for like, hey, we're coming to a convention to hang out and do meet and greets and do panels and stuff like that. This might have been
That'd
the
be
last
pretty
time.
handy.
Exactly. This might have been the last time because it was like literally at the ass crack end of 2019. And so obviously I was there to, meet up with the Kind of Funny community and all that. But the other reason why I was there was because at the time I was writing for Gamers, the like video documentary YouTube channel. Correct. Gvermers, because it's a V, but the V is stylized to look like an A. It's a whole thing.
Right. And you know it's a callback to like ancient Roman, numerals where
Yes.
the A's are always V's.
Yes, it's a long and storied tradition that dates back centuries and millennia. It's a whole thing. Anyways, I was like, yo, person that runs the Gamers channel, I really care about this brand so incredibly much. I really want to do everything I can to just grow it and expand it beyond its current parameters. What if I went and I did like a little booth at EGLX where I tried to promote the podcast? Not the podcast, it's not a podcast, video documentary YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it. And he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. In retrospect, it's one of those things where it's like, I really didn't need to go out of my way and spend all the money that I did to do this. Like, you're not really getting more people to your YouTube channel by doing a booth at a convention like this. Maybe if you host like a big panel, maybe if you like do one of these other things where your name is a little bit more prominently in front of things. I was not bringing a ton more people to this, I was about to say little YouTube channel, but we made some big videos back in the day. Anyways, I had a little booth set up with a bunch of monitors playing our documentaries on a loop. I had a bunch of business cards splayed out for people to learn about the channel and kind of get in contact with us for whatever reason. In retrospect, I'm like, a little cringe, but back in the day, during the kind of halcyon days of me being into the YouTube content creation things, I didn't really know any better. And it was still an interesting learning experience getting to know, like, all right, if you are an exhibitor at these conventions, here's where you have to go. Here's what you have to do. Here's what you have to fill out. Cost me like a few $100s, all things considered. Not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. But again, it is one of those things where I look back on it and I'm like, probably could have spent my money doing other things, but you live and learn.
I mean, here's what you could have done. Have some kind of giveaway. Maybe every 30 minutes there's a raffle, and then in order to get a raffle ticket, you have to prove that you're subscribed to the channel, and some kind of thing. And then that way, you only have to give away, I don't know, a couple of little pencil toppers and erasers and, Tootsie Rolls. But everybody loves a free thing. You remember at PAX East when that woman, I don't know if you were there when we overheard her, but that woman said, she's like, I got $250 in Dunkin' Donuts gift cards from doing this Dunkin' Donuts game. It's like, bitch, you spent $50 or something like that, a ticket per day to come in here to play a ball game and wait in line to get Dunkin' Donuts. Like, you could have just gone and bought a bunch of Dunkin' Donuts and saved yourself a bunch of time.
Everything that you're saying is correct, Chad. It is one of those things, though, where, like, when I propose, hey, maybe I can do a booth at this gaming expo and I can promote the podcast, the guy that runs the channel was like, you can go and do that. I'm not going to stop you. But, like, without explicitly saying it, he was like, I'm not going to, like, give you a ton of money or a ton of capital to go and do this thing. You're free to do whatever you want so long as you don't sully our name. And that was sort of the agreement there. Anyways, so there was that. And then the other thing was, all right, so little lead up to kind of explain the scenario.
Real quick, though.
Yes.
Gamers, very big channel.
Yeah, pretty decently big.
I mean,
they got more subscribers than we do?
They have 500,000 subscribers.
Yes, they do.
I'm looking for your
That's
video.
So
about
wild that, like, people that they find their channel even though they didn't even spell it right. Like, terrible SEO.
How'd they figure it out?
So
but somehow 500,000 people found it.
So TLDR, I wrote a number of videos for the channel.
Rise and Fall of Crisis. There it is.
Yeah, that was one of the videos that I wrote. And that's how I knew about so much about the Crisis series going into that BARF review. There's like a string of videos from like 2018, 2019, probably 2020 that I wrote. I didn't like edit them or like, was responsible for like the voice direction, any of that. It was kind of a siloed process where I wrote them and then the videos were, further edited and worked on from there. But yeah, I did have a part in their creation.
They have a sister channel called Give Me Play. Oh, I don't know why I find that so funny. It's called Gameplay, but it's spelled GVME Play. I'm assuming this is. Oh, it was archive for 4K gameplay footage.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Videos. Interesting.
Because the idea
I
is
thought
that
it was going to be like people live streaming games, but
the idea is that the founder of the channel, and sometimes I myself, would record a lot of high quality footage for our videos, and we'd be like, well, we have all this footage lying around, maybe we should just put it to good use in some way. And so that was a little olive branch of giving back to the YouTube community. Getting back to conventions. So what's Adam laughing at? What's Adam?
I'm just like a game of play.
It is funny. I will confess that. So we have a family friend on my father's side. My father's side originally came from Slovenia, a country in, I would say, Central Europe. It's not quite Eastern Europe, but it's not quite Western either. And this guy, very Slovenian, very much a piano repairman. This is a complete non sequitur tangent, but have either of you seen the movie Murder Mystery on Netflix starring Adam Sandler?
Yes.
No, I make it a point not to watch Adam Sandler movies anymore.
That movie was filmed at least partially, if not entirely, in Montreal. And the piano in that movie was supplied by this family friend that worked on repairing
Steve
pianos.
Harvey?
No. Not that. We're talking about my family friend who repairs pianos. Now, here's the thing about...
Why would you reject Steve Harvey as a family friend?
Here's the thing about my family friend that repairs pianos. Big piano repairman. Very Slovenian. He's also a big gearhead.
Very Slovenian.
He is one of the biggest fans you will ever meet of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Like, you would walk into his garage and he would have giant standees of Bumblebee and Optimus and all the other bots from those movies. And one Montreal Comic Con, which might have actually been 2019 as well, because it was definitely just like before the pandemic, he was like, I forget, is it the, one of you will have to help me out with this one. Is it the Chevrolet Camaro? It's like the older version.
Yeah, Bumblebee.
Yes. He had one of the older Chevrolet Camaro models. And he was like, I'm going to set this up in the center of the convention hall, and I will let people for a small fee come in and let themselves take photos of themselves inside the car. And the money went to I want to say the Montreal Children's Hospital, one of those charities. And I helped him out on a couple of the days with managing people, getting them in and out of the car, and so on and so forth.
Was it actually like painted yellow and black like Bumblebee, or was it
Yes.
just a 2008 Chevy Camaro?
Yes, it was. It was actually painted yellow and black like Bumblebee. And so, yeah, that one, by comparison, much more, I mean, mind you, it was going to a charity, but a much more fruitful endeavor compared to the Gamers one. And yeah, those are my two convention exhibitor stories.
Do you think that on the full moon, all of Steve Harvey's Transformers come to life and become cars, and Steve Harvey becomes the Transformer and turns into a robot?
Wait,
and drives the cars all over Quebec. Sorry.
So I'm a little confused by this story. So you're saying that normally at like normal times of the day when the full moon is not yet out, Steve Harvey is like accompanied by a bunch of Transformers in robot mode?
Right. Yeah. You said he has a bunch of standees, and I assume cars don't stand up unless they're in Transformer mode.
I mean, I don't know. Adam, what do you think about this one, Adam? I really am at a loss for words.
I'm actually
honestly.
pretty shocked that Steve Harvey was never in a Transformers movie, considering those movies somehow just get every comedian in history. But I do not believe Steve Harvey was in those. They had Bernie Mac. They had who's the guy from Blackish? They fucking had every
Bernie
comedian.
Mac was alive.
Bernie Mac is in. He was in Transformers 1. He's the one who sells Sam.
Bernie Mac, when did
Bumblebee.
he die, and when is that?
What is it? Hold on.
He died like 4 years after.
Transformers.
But yeah, no Steve Harvey in those movies.
Shut up, Google AI.
The man doesn't.
On August 9th, 2008. And 2007 Transformers came out. Okay.
I'm trying to remember the line. He's like, the man doesn't pick the car picks the driver. It's the mythical bond between man and machine, something like that.
Yeah. Very good. Very funny, man. But no Steve Harvey in those movies. Sorry, Chad. Sorry to disappoint you.
He should be. Michael Bay, there was a news story recently about how Michael Bay is gearing up, no pun intended, to do more of those movies. Honestly, he should bring Steve Harvey into the fold. I think that would be a lot of fun.
He's too busy
all
with
of
Family
this.
Feud.
Exactly. The full circle. All of this because Kozi said Family Friend, and I thought Family Feud. Steve Harvey immediately came to mind.
I was wondering how you made that connection. That makes sense. All right, Chad, what's the topic that you wanted to bring to the show?
I've got a little topic here to carry us for a little bit. As you all know, and I'm sure you've already binge watched and consumed, season 4 of The Bear is out now on Hulu. You can also watch it on Disney Plus if you have a bundle that also includes Hulu. The Bear, excellent show. 10 out of 10. Best in class. There's a concept on season 3 called non-negotiables. And I am curious what in your life might be considered a non-negotiable. This could be in relationships. This could be in your day-to-day routine. This could be in technology that you have. What are your non-negotiables in life?
I like this question. I have to, because the thing is, there definitely are quite a few, but I'm not necessarily, they're not like crystallized in my brain at all times of like, these are absolutely non-negotiable. So give me a moment to think.
What are yours, Chad?
I've got 2 like off the top of my noggin. One is non-negotiable. I cannot date anyone who smokes cigarettes. Like that is like, that smell is so.
What do you mean, honey? You don't like me? You don't want to watch me smoke? Chad.
No, not a fan. Not a fan. So that's a non-negotiable for me. But the other one is as I was shopping for all sorts of technology today for Prime Day coming out 6 hours from now, Amazon Prime. You have Twitch Prime. You know what to do. Because Blues Clues. Non-negotiable for me, and it honestly has been for a few years now. If it doesn't charge with USB-C, it has no place in my home.
Wow.
Like zero. Like I will wait. Like if the only thing that exists of this product has micro USB or mini USB, God forbid, there are still products out there that still have mini USB. I will wait years, if not ever, to avoid having to have a mini USB or micro USB cable left in my home. In fact, I threw all that shit out. I threw all those cables away. I don't even have them in my home anymore. USB-A is not a non-negotiable, but if it still comes with a USB-A cable, it is going in the trash. And you have to really fight for your spot in my home if you have a USB-A cable. It's not a definite hard no, but you're starting with, you're on my bad side.
What are some examples of some objects in your life that like did not run on USB-C that like you still couldn't do without, so you specifically trashed them and then got an equivalent version that runs on USB-C? Or have you by any chance like modded anything to run on USB-C?
I have not modded anything because I don't want to get into the world of soldering, because that just sounds like a bad time. I have not trashed this yet, but I use it very infrequently. I have a Dremel tool, a little rotary tool, and it charges with micro USB. And I specifically go to use it, and it's always dead because I don't have a fucking micro USB anymore because it's trash. So it's sitting in a drawer. But I tell you what, there's a company that I have fallen in love with the last few months/year called Fantic, Fanttik, that creates a rotary tool that charges with USB-C, and I'm buying that shit in 6 hours on Prime Day. So that's an example, of a tool that this Dremel, great for you, but Fantic is taking your spot because you have micro USB and it has USB-C. Also, there's like Fantic. Let me rant for a little bit. Fantic is they have beautifully designed products. They use. I feel like no one's using magnets anymore, but this Fantic uses magnets in all the great ways to like make things. Look at this. Here, this is a Fantic little mini micro precision screwdriver. Look at this thing. Oh, what goes in here? Boom! Push that little magnet up. Oh my God! Look at all these little screwdriver bits and shit. And you just go bloopy bloopy bloop. And then you got your little beautifully designed little precision screwdriver, and it's just like, ooh, it's got a little light on it, charges with USB-C. And yeah, it's just, this thing is beautiful. I got a car tire pump. I've got a freaking handheld car vacuum. I have so many things from Fantic. They just make beautiful products, and I love them so much. So, and they all charge with USB-C.
Yeah, sponsor the show.
What was the question?
If you're listening to us, sponsor the show, Frantic, whatever you're called. No. I'm
Frantic.
Also, hold on a second. Chad, why are you asking me what the question is when you're the person that asked the question to the three of us?
I think you asked me a follow-up question. Oh, yeah. Well, like, what have you thrown away that you didn't...
Have you ever thrown anything away to get like a USB-C version of it?
No, but I tell you what, what's going to literally also never get used? I'm not going to throw them away because they're impossible to get. But the NES Switch controllers that only charge by sliding onto the side of your Nintendo Switch 1 and do not have any other method of charging.
That's gross.
Yeah.
That's
now,
nasty.
the SNES controller, the N64, and the GameCube controllers all have USB-C. Great.
Mm-hmm.
But that one, they're like, what if we made this shittier and also made it look like shit on top of it?
Now, I will say, that is shitty, but now that you're living in the Switch 2 era, I mean, I'd imagine you're not using your Switch 1 all that much, right? So you can make that the designated NES controller charger.
I'm going to have a whole fucking Switch out just to charge a controller? No.
Come on, man.
Bruh.
Come on. How else are you going to replay through Bubble Bobble? How else are you going to replay through Zelda 2 without those NES controllers?
0 out of 10.
Wow. Oh, man.
What have y'all got? What have you come up with? Non-negotiables.
This is really dumb, but it will get us more views, maybe. People don't generally watch these After Dark episodes, so in a way that actually makes me more confident in saying this, because I'd imagine that most people aren't going to tune into this one. On these dating apps, them dating apps where you swipe with people and you try to get them interested with you and vice versa and all the yada yada.
Get them interested in you. I'm fascinated to hear the rest of this conversation. Kozi, I'll be honest with you.
Very, very often, I'll be like, yo, I got an idea for a first date. Screw going to a coffee shop. Screw going to a movie. What if we went to the IKEA food court? And if the person on the other end of the line is like, Yeah, I don't know. We can go another time. I don't really know. I'm like, yeah, I don't think we're meant for each other. Goodbye.
Non-negotiable. If you don't eat a $1.49 hot dog on our first date, no,
It's
$0.
it's
Zero
not
out of 10.
it's not a hard and fast line, but it is one of those things where it's like I can't deny the fact that I'm a weird fucking dude. And if you're not interested in going to IKEA as a first date, well, I don't know if we have much of a future together.
I get
How-
it. What was that? What was the chicken from Costco that when you came here, you're like,
Oh,
I need to
chicken
go to Costco to get a chicken something.
Yeah,
Chicken
the
bake.
chicken bake, the chicken bake. They
The
don't have
chicken
it
bake,
up here in
that's right.
Canada. Yeah, good stuff. I actually, because I've brought up IKEA a lot in these conversations, the topic of Costco's come up as well. And here's my thing: hot take. The Costco hot dog is the better hot dog, undeniably. But because the Costco hot dog comes with a fountain drink, I actually much prefer the IKEA hot dogs. Because whenever I get the Costco hot dog, it's like, well, now I'm almost obliged to enjoy this fountain drink. Otherwise, I'm not getting my money's worth. Whereas I can just splurge on as many IKEA hot dogs as I want, and I don't have to worry about getting anything else that I have to eat alongside them.
Everybody knows you love a good dry dog.
It's
And
true.
if you have to wet that dog, no matter how good it tastes, you don't want it soggy.
Yeah. Anyways, I would say that's my one non-negotiable.
I have a
My
question.
single
Love it.
non-negotiable.
Assuming we're having a good time here, like that can't be real. Are you really like there's somebody interested in a date? You're like, you won't go to Costco. Nah, dog, I'm good. Are you really
of all, it was IKEA.
denying people?
I
Excuse me,
mean-
IKEA. You're really saying no, I'm not going to go on a date because you don't want to go to IKEA with a stranger.
Here's what I'll say. Let me put it this way. Sometimes we find ourselves in these conversations that initially seem like they're going in a really good direction. Seems like things are really jiving and things are really working out. And then things begin to sour. There isn't like an immediate red flag, but it is like, I don't really know that this person is exactly right for me. And me posing the IKEA question is basically my way of being like, this is me giving the person a Hail Mary. If they're like, yes, I absolutely want to go to Costco, great, relationship saved. This was their one last chance that they had to get back in my quote unquote good graces. And if they say, no, I'm not interested in IKEA, then I'll be like, all right, that's that for us. Generally, when I get into contact with people on these apps, I'm not asking them right up front, IKEA first date, yes or no. This is something that comes later on down the road as a way for me to basically give myself the justification to taper off conversations with them. And I'll leave it at that.
I get it. It's that like I'm getting old enough. I'm
Yeah.
dead age that I'm not going to date anyone who like has zero interest in video games. Like that is such a big part of my life, and I
Right.
want to be able to like talk about. Like you have to at least pretend to be interested in it and like take some kind of it. So yeah, I get it. Like, hey, that's my non-negotiable. If you have zero interest in video games and like you can't hold a conversation with me about anything, I have other people that I need to see before I die.
The video game one, I will say real quick. The video game one is one of those things where it's like, when I was like a young wee lad, I definitely fantasized like a bunch of other horny ass teens, like, oh man, I'm gonna get a gamer girl. I'm gonna get a girlfriend that loves to play video games, just like me. And like, nowadays I have matured, not dramatically, but enough compared to where I was when I was a young wee teen to know that like that shouldn't be like the first and foremost requirement in a relationship with someone I love. I am totally fine with, loving someone who isn't necessarily as passionate about gaming as myself, but it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to function with someone that like actively hates that particular hobby of mine, basically.
I would say hate, but I will say, as the only person here who has actually been married, having your own thing that you don't constantly have to be, having your own thing is a fucking blessing. Holy shit. I do not need every moment of every day to be, oh, we both like this thing, so we have to constantly talk about this. Like, nah, dog,
Right.
I'm going to do my thing. You do your thing. It's a fucking blessing. Let me tell you.
That's what masturbation's for.
I was
Like,
gonna
that can
say
be your own solo
has-
thing.
No, I want to
I
play
was
You
gonna
can
games.
do each
say-
other sometimes, and you'd be like, "Hey, hold on, I gotta go actually touch my own penis for a second."
Give me a second, I'll be back.
I was going to say that's what you're describing, Adam, was what the Wii U was for. It was to give you, the gamer, an opportunity to game on the TV while your significant other enjoys the TV for other stuff. You could have enriched your relationship far more than it ever was with the power of the Wii U.
Oh, I had it, and it was the worst system I've ever owned in my
Wait,
life. So
you owned a Wii U?
yes, I did. Why do you think I fucking don't like Nintendo anymore? I've owned everything Nintendo, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this shit.
I would have assumed that like you would have taken
Nintendo
one
is your
look at the
Adam
Wii
Sandler.
U and been like,
Yeah,
well,
that's
I'm not going through with this. This is we can't talk too much more about video games. We have to steer clear of this conversation, but I'm definitely going to ask about this.
We're talking about them in
on
a
the main
masturbation
podcast
sense, though.
again.
Yeah, we're talking
That
about
is true.
No,
That's
there's a
true. We're
reason
talking
I
about
don't
the
fuck
Wii.
with Nintendo, and it's not because I didn't have their stuff. It's because I had too much of it, and I'm like, this is worse than. Again, I like the Adam Sandler movies, and that shit was worse than that. So,
What about you, Adam? Non-negotiables.
I don't know. You guys are. It's funny about like all these non-negotiable. We're talking about relationships more than other stuff. I think Chad's charger thing is more interesting. But like, you gotta hit a certain age. You gotta, people start bringing those. They're like, I've got to have this, and then you hit like, oh, I'm 35 and single. Well, maybe I can do that one. I'm 40 and I don't have any kids. Maybe I can go a little up. Now, non-negotiable. I don't know, man. My thing is that like when it comes to people. If someone's bothering me or doing a thing that annoys me, like I'll bring it up, and then if they don't talk about it, they don't have to change it. Obviously, I don't expect you to change overnight because I don't like the thing. But if nothing happens with it, I'm just like, okay, and I just stop talking to them. It's not like well, here's the thing, and you better fix it or not. I'm like, oh, let's try this. Oh, they're not going to change it. I'll just disappear. I don't even disappear. I'll ghost and still be present. That's what I like to do.
You'll send them an obituary of yourself, and then also be
I'll hand it to them.
eating beside him at a Burger King. Be
I'm
like,
dead. Here you go.
"Boo."
Yeah, that's just the thing where like I don't want to make a list of things that I don't like ahead of time because I don't think you know until you know. And then it's like, is it a deal breaker? And then after getting beat down for 3 years, then you can determine if it's a deal breaker for you or not. But going into it, I think the cigarette one makes sense because I don't like the smell of cigarette smoke, but I don't know a single person who smokes cigarettes in the house that isn't 60 plus. So I don't think that's really an issue, but that is a good one. That would bug the shit out of me. I'd be like, can't do that.
Yeah.
This is so this is not nearly on the same level as some of the other things that we've talked about on this episode, but as you all know, I like to make a lot of homemade pizzas. My craft has improved and improved and improved over time, but I'm not the kind of person that's above ordering out pizza. I will happily order out a pizza from Pizza, which is a chain up here in Canada that has nothing to do with Little Caesars. Not Little Caesars. I'm pretty sure we've already been over this on a previous episode. From
Their slogan is, "We promise we're not Little Caesars."
I absolutely swear. From Pizza Hut, the Pizza Hut pizza is probably my favorite when it comes to the takeout pizzas. However, here's the thing: down the street from our house, literally 4 blocks from our house, is a mom and pop pizzeria called Pizza Poulet Express. Poulet meaning chicken because they also sell fried chicken.
Pizza and chicken fast to go. I don't know about that.
It's like one of those places where it's like, oh, we sell French fries and pizza and hamburgers. Like they sell every fast food item under the sun.
Heroin.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because their pizza, specifically the crust quality for their pizza, is bottom basement tier. Absolutely under no circumstances. Again, I don't consider myself a pizza snob, but it's even before I got into making pizzas, I was like, this pizza sucks. And nowadays, if ever there's some situation where another member of the family is like, hey, we're thinking of ordering out pizza, I'm like, order out pizza from anywhere on the island of Montreal, anywhere, but do not order it from Pizza Poulet Express. Under no circumstances are you allowed to order pizza from there because their shit sucks.
You reminded me of another
Uh-oh.
non-negotiable for me, and this is one I'm very passionate about. If you are a cash-only business, you deserve to have your business burned to the ground.
Ooh.
I will not visit your establishment. There's a donut place here in San Jose. Actually, I guess technically it's in Santa Clara, but it's Stan's Donuts. Not the same Stan's. It's like a chain in Chicago, but Stan's Donuts here is everyone says they're the best donuts in the whole Bay Area. They're amazing. They have a line out the door all weekend, every weekend until they're sold out. Cash only business. I've never eaten a Stan's donut. I
Well-
will never eat a Stan's donut because
So-
cash is bullshit.
So, question: how old is Stan's Donuts? Is it like an old ass business? Because like up here
I've
in
never
Montreal,
been in the door, Kozi. Why would I know that?
up here in
It's
Montreal, we have
cash
like
only.
a couple of like old ass like historic restaurants. There's this one place called Walensky's Light Lunch, which is like a famous like Jewish delicatessen from like the 1920s. It's like old historic like no nonsense place. They're cash only, and I'm like, hey, I respect it. This is how you did it in the 1920s, and so this is how you're doing it today. I respect the continuity. But like if it's a new restaurant, if it's like a restaurant founded within like the past century, like since the year 2000, I'm like, yeah, not interested.
No, I mean, I understand from a business perspective, like, oh, we can hide some of this money from the government. Also, you don't have to pay the credit card fees for processing, like, up to, I think American Express charges 4% per transaction or something like that. Like, I get that, but also your customer base, I guess their customer base is old enough that they continue to support them. But then when all the old people die and all these millennials come out and they're like, I don't carry cash anymore because I'm not a fucking jokester. They're not going to be able to, your business they're going to burn.
Well, here's the thing.
2025.
You say the line's out the door. They can probably afford to keep doing it for a while. That's probably why they do it, because they're popular.
You know why? Because it's fucking Trump's America and everything's upside down.
Is that Santa Clara? Is that very Trump? Was it Trump country?
No, Santa Clara is not Trump country. Everyone in the Bay Area who might be a Trump supporter knows they got to hide in their little shells. Nobody here.
But you know what's funny though? You say when all the old people die out, they'll stop carrying cash. There's a crazy thing, Chad. You're going to notice it soon. On your 39th birthday, you wake up with your glasses. You have glasses now. There's a chain around the back. You have a wallet that's way too thick, filled with cash and cards and pictures of kids. They're not even here. They're just different kids. And you have like suspenders and khakis. You just wake up as an old person one day.
And that brings me to my fourth non-negotiable.
No.
If I'm old, slit my throat.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
I do not want to live long enough to become some racist person that carries cash and has a chain around my glasses and wears, what was the cargo khaki shorts? Was that the thing?
Khaki pants. Yeah.
Khaki pants? Yeah. Nope. Kill me.
So your fourth non-negotiable is being old in general.
Yep.
Being alive is non-negotiable.
Being alive as an old man.
That's fair enough.
Non-negotiable for me.
Oh man. That's kind of it for me. I mean, I feel like we kind of went over IKEA. We talked about video games. I would be pretty. I mean, I'll say this here. I'll have it on record right here, right now. If I meet just an absolutely lovely partner, just the best person in my life, absolutely lovey-dovey eyes, all from now till the end of time. So incredibly in love with this person that I will not want to off myself when I get older, like Chad. If they're like, hey, I really hate a lot of those video game consoles, we got to throw them out, I'd be like, okay, we can throw that stuff out, but we're not touching the Bionicles. Bionicles are like the one last refuge for like, I will inevitably someday, if there's, no good reason for me to keep this stuff around, get rid of a lot of my other nerd crap, a lot of my other older video game consoles. But I think that the Bionicles that I have will forever remain where they are in my display cabinets. I will do whatever I can to keep them in good shape, do what I can to keep them dusted in good condition, but they're not going anywhere.
I have two things for you, Kozi.
Uh-oh.
One of them is, just remember, that person will eventually die, but plastic is forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, which one do you want to anchor yourself to? A future dead person?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Or something that's going to last forever?
That's what I'm saying. It's a non-negotiable. Oh, wait, you're talking about the video game consoles.
Yeah, the video game consoles are going to last forever, so maybe...
I mean, that's
you anchor
true.
yourself to them. Yeah.
But eventually,
I
was going to say, eventually the SNES turns yellow. Like it does, they do visually degrade.
Get some retro
even though they
bright.
don't,
Get some retro bright. It'll be fine.
All right.
The second thing is another non-negotiable that I just remembered. You talked about IKEA. I, in my brain, thought about the fact that I went to IKEA 3 times this weekend. And I went the first time, and I said, I'm so fucking thirsty. I just want, I don't know, a bottle of Diet Coke.
You're a thirsty bitch.
I'm a thirsty bitch. I just want a bottle of Diet Coke from this Swedish restaurant. I've never eaten at an IKEA, nor have I ever eaten at Costco.
Hold on. Sorry. Everybody time out. The podcast, Rafter Dark Episode 6, starts now. Chad, you have never eaten at an IKEA before.
A lot of
Explain.
people haven't eaten at a furniture store, Cozy.
That
A
is
lot of
correct,
people
yes.
have not.
This IKEA is not just a furniture store. It is IKEA. It is a noun
Furniture store.
into itself.
Hold on, let me go to IKEA.com. What can I buy at IKEA? Huh.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Furniture.
can't order a
Hot
meatball
dogs,
shipped to home,
delicious
can you?
hot dogs, meatballs, French fries, ice cream, soft serve ice cream.
I come from a family of 4, and when you have 4 kids and you are,
I was going to say that's the perfect scenario to chow down on some horse at an IKEA. You bring the
you
kids
go home
and you're like,
you eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich, or you don't eat anything else. Yep.
but the IKEA
So
food
no, I've
is
never
cheap.
eaten in an IKEA.
Oh my god, you're unbelievable.
But I, as a grown adult man, I was like, you know what? I've never even seen the cafeteria part of an IKEA.
Okay.
Let me
Baby
just go in here and
steps.
see if do they have fountain drinks? Do they
Baby
have bottled
steps?
drinks?
Yes,
I was
they
like,
do.
I'm just thirsty.
They have
I want a Diet Coke,
elderberry,
right?
idle floss. I actually don't know the names. Go ahead.
So I walked in, and I saw that they have like a weird cafeteria setup, like I don't know, little lines that you walk through in buffet style, something. I don't know, and they had some cooler. It wasn't like I don't know. It felt weird to me.
It's not
From afar.
Anyways, go ahead.
From afar, I saw a drink cooler, and I couldn't identify what drinks were in them. Maybe they were like, I don't know, some Swedish brand sodas. Maybe they were, I don't know, Diet Pepsis, but they weren't Diet Cokes. I could tell you that. I did not see that beautiful red label of the Coke products over there. So I walked out. But that reminds me, Diet Coke is a non-negotiable over Diet Pepsi. And I used to be the kind of person who'd order Diet Coke and then be like, is Diet Pepsi okay? And I'd be like, yeah. And then I would drink it and I'd regret every decision I ever made in my life. But for the first time, 2 weeks ago, Jerica Hanna was in town from JK Games Podcast. She was reviewing Death Stranding 2 over on Kinda Funny. And we went, after she reviewed the game, we went to San Francisco to the Nintendo store. And after that, we went to a diner right up the street. It was like old 50s style diner. And they had like literally a car in the middle of the fucking restaurant with some mannequin lady inside of it. A homeless guy walked up and called the mannequin lady a name and started talking to it, because that's San Francisco. And we sit down, we look at this giant menu, breakfast served all day. Waiter, I can't remember what it was, a waiter or waitress, doesn't matter. Some ambiguous person walks over and says, can we get you started with something to drink? And I said, Diet Coke. And they said, Diet Pepsi. Is that okay? And for the first time in my life, I actually said, no, I'll just have water. And I felt so free in that moment, living my truth, saying, I'm 30 dead years old. I don't need to continue drinking Diet Pepsi anymore. That shit's nasty. It's a non-negotiable now for me.
I want to say this right up front, Chad. I really respect that non-negotiable. I think that it's a really beautiful thing that you just managed to arrive at that, and I'm really happy for you. I'm not happy that to arrive at that, you had to trample through IKEA's good name to get there. I'm telling you right here, Chad, I have IKEA foodfacts.ca opened up. And let me read to you.
I have not still eaten at an IKEA. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying I've never eaten there, and I couldn't tell from afar what types of drinks they had other than it wasn't Coke.
Well, let me read to you some of the delicious foods you can get at
I think
the
it's
IKEA
an hour,
food court.
Cozy. We don't need to do that.
You have Swedish meatballs.
We're over an hour.
You
We're
have
good. Taking the
lingonberry
headphones off.
sauce. You got peas. You got potatoes.
Well, it was over an hour,
salmon
but
fillets.
we have to do take 2.
You got haddock and chips. You got garlic toast. You got
haddock?
all
Who's
sorts of
going
amazing
to eat
stuff.
fish at an IKEA?
It's a Nordic country. They love the fish up there.
Oh, it's fried fish. There's probably like frozen nuggets.
Yeah, you have
kind.
all sorts of stuff. I'm telling you this right here, right now, Chad. Last thing I'll say.
Adam has put his bucket hat over the camera.
Adam, what's your relationship with IKEA? Do you hate IKEA? Is that why you're trying to cover up your camera like this? Can you even hear me?
Some kid named Isaac, when he was a kid, like bullied him on the playground. And Ike is short for Isaac. And ever since, he just sees IKEA A, Ike A, on the sign. He's like, Ike bullied A, Adam. Can't do it anymore. Flashbacks, PTSD.
Here's the thing, Chad. The next episode of RAFter Dark that we're going to do, we're probably going to have Joel, real Joel, back in the room, not fake Pedro Pascal Joel. And he's probably going to have a lot of stories to talk about his landlord situation and all that. You have homework for next episode, and that is you have to go to an IKEA You have to get yourself some delicious meatballs or whatever meal you want to have as your main meal out there. And then you have to, for dessert, have a slice of Dame cake, spelled Daim. This is it's like a frozen but then defrosted cake that has like this like butterscotch, like toffee, like niblet flavor to it with like a coating of chocolate on top. It is really good, and you are going to goddamn love it. So that's your homework for next. I was going to say next week, but technically it would be next month. You got to try a Dame at IKEA.
Okay, I wasn't into it, but it looks like it has like one of those, I don't know, like ice cream bar coatings on it.
Yeah,
like it looks like a crunch bar with.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like if you took like an ice cream bar and then you defrosted it.
Ooh, okay.
You defrosted it, but it still kind of remained, like it maintained its original shape. It didn't melt. That's sort of what you're in for. It's really
Can I
interesting.
just go and buy the cake? Do I have to eat garbage salmon?
Here's what I'll say. The meatballs at IKEA are famous. They are absolutely delicious. I think
oh my God, why are we still talking about IKEA food? What are we doing here?
You got to try everything on their menu, but if you just want to go in there to try a slice of Dame, I will give you permission to do that. But you have to do it, and you have to report back for next week. Are we in agreement?
Next week?
Next month. Sorry, I forget that we don't do this on a weekly basis. Chad literally stopped his video thing anymore. We literally can't see him on the episode recording.
I'm right here. You can see me just fine.
I meant to say Adam. You guys, we've talked about this in the past. You both have very similar sounding names, and it's easy to confuse the two of you.
Chad, Adam. Okay.
You know
I was
what
about
I mean?
to be like, what
when
the fuck?
you
It's
say
like ad, there's the ad in there. Yeah.
When you say
Chadam.
Chad before Adam, when you say Adam before Chad, it's fine. But anyways,
well, yeah, it's Adam before Chad, except after C.
Oh boy, I'd rather go watch Jurassic World Reborn again than talk about fucking
no,
IKEA.
you wouldn't. Nobody would
We're
want to
not-
watch that piece of shit.
I was going to say, Adam,
But
we
it's not a piece of shit. Us. Thanks for watching us, everybody. This has been great. This is Rafter Dark, IKEA non-negotiable Comic Con. Great.
Yeah.
Kill me before I get old. Don't fuck off. How do we end this? I don't know.
We say this every
Kozi.
time.
Let's see. Here's what it says.
We need
Browse
a
through
catchphrase.
our new food facts hub
Dark.
to learn
Rafter
about.
Dark. No.
Damn
get
it!
out.
Literally, as I was saying it switched to something else. And then they all left. I don't know if anyone can hear me or not anymore. They can definitely hear me. They definitely can't hear our other two co-hosts. Hold on, I got it setting myself. Thank you to everybody for tuning into this episode of Rafter Dark. Remember that you can catch regular episodes, numbered episodes, and occasionally barf episodes of Respawning Fire on twitch.tv/Affable Idiots every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then they will go live on podcast services and our YouTube channel the following Wednesday. That is youtube.com/@respawningfire. Don't forget that you can support us on Patreon. Chances are, if you're watching this episode before it's publicly available to everyone else, you already are supporting us on Patreon, in which case we greatly appreciate your patronage. And yeah, go outside, have a fantastic day. Maybe you should drive down to ye old IKEA, have a couple of meatballs.
End the show.
Goodbye. Oh yeah, I have to do the outro.